Owning a property does not automatically mean that you are building wealth. In Nigeria, we have millions of property owners, but most of them are not wealthy. This is not the economy alone, this is not bad luck, and this is not to insult anyone. This is just real fact. This is a pattern I've come to notice over and over again through interacting with investors and even family and friends. A lot of people buy property in Nigeria just because of the sake that they said when you make money, you should invest in property. I saw an argument on Twitter last month, and the person said, if you see 100 million naira today, what will you do? He will say, I will buy land, I will do this, I will do that. But nobody is actually stopping and asking, the land you are buying, what exactly is it doing for you? Is it building anything for you? Is it generating anything for you? Is it bringing any income for you? All we all depend on is capital appreciation. Now, don't get me wrong, that is not a wrong strategy. But focusing on appreciation, capital appreciation alone might not be able to build you the wealth you want through real estate investment. And in today's video, I want to share with you why owning a property does not automatically mean that you are building wealth through real estate investment. And you might need to watch this video to the end because the last point will change how you see real estate investment from today. If you are seeing me for the first time, although this is my first video of the year, my name is Edozuno Chukwemeka, and right here on this channel is where I talk about real estate from a wealth building standpoint. The first reason most investors never build wealth through real estate investment is that they buy with pride and not with strategy. And you need to know that those are two different things that leads to two different outcomes. When pride is driving the purchase, the goal is the ownership itself. The goal for the person who bought that property is just to say, I own a property. And once that is achieved, every other thinking stops. The person who bought the property, or you as an investor who bought the property, is no longer asking questions. You are no there because there are no plan, no expectation of what that property should produce. The person buying with strategy is asking, what is the highest and best use of this land? How quickly can I generate income with this property? What does the market around this location actually need? Those are investors-led questions, and you need to know that investor-led questions leads to investors' outcomes. And I need you to know this: buying a property is not a trophy. Buying a property is not doesn't mean that you have made it. Buying a property is not a milestone. You need to have this mindset. Well, at some point, buying a property can be a milestone, but buying a property is supposed to be a tool for building wealth for you. And that leads me to the reason number two, why owning a property does not automatically mean that you are building wealth. Because when pride is driving the purchase, what follows is this. The second reason is what the economist Hernando de Soto called the debt capital problem. What does this mean? This means that you own assets, but that asset is not generating anything for you. And in Nigeria's economic environment, owning an asset or an investment that is not generating anything for you is not neutral. It is you losing on your investment. The reason is because Nigerians' inflation has been running above 25% in recent years. What that means practically is that the purchasing power of your money is shrinking every single year. So if your property is sitting idle, not generating any rental income for you, not generating any commercial income for you, and not doing anything significantly for you, you are not breaking even. You are falling behind with your investment. The assets may look the same. The naira price may keep rising every single year. But in real terms, in what that capital could actually buy or produce, you are losing ground every single year. For example, the most common version of this is buying a village land or buying a property in your village. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say you shouldn't buy a property in your village, but you need to listen to this. The emotional logic sense is that number one, it is affordable. Number two, it connects you back to your roots. Number three, it feels like something solid. But in financial logic sense, it doesn't make sense because there are no tenants in the village. There are no commercial activity driving demand in your village. There are no population growth, no development in your village. What that property does is just sit there for several years, sometimes decades, without generating anything. And I know of a situation where a man bought about 250 plots in 1990. In 1990, for God knows how much. I don't know how much the property is then. He bought it along Owerri to Port Harcourt Expressway then, when nothing has been developed in that location then. Now, as of today, that property is selling for 2.5 million naira. That property is still selling for. I know of this situation because the person who sold that property is one of the people I respect in real estate in Owerri, Imo State, because that was the first property they used to start their real estate company. For over 34 years, that property has been there and generating nothing. Because how can a property still be 2.5 million naira? A property you bought in 1990, how much will it be when it gets to 2030, 2034? How much will it be? Now, I need you to understand this. Owning a property and investing in a property are two different things. They are not the same. An investment produces return. So if your property is not producing return, it is not an investment. You are just storing money with that property. The third reason why owning a property does not automatically mean that you are building wealth is that most investors buy one property and stop buying. Now, for me, what I see in this aspect is, based on my experience in this industry, is that when you buy one property and stop buying property at that moment, what I see it is that I see it as pride. I see it as someone who wants to feel among. In as much as capital can be a major problem for some people, but I'm speaking to those who have the capital to buy a property, but for some reason they bought one property and they don't want to buy again. Now, I see those people as people who bought with pride, just to say, I have an investment somewhere. They don't actually want to buy the property, but because of they like the idea of buying a property, they bought one property and stopped buying. But have you stopped to ask yourself the actual question, can this one property actually build wealth for you? And you need to know that buying one property cannot build wealth for you, because real wealth in real estate is built through real generational wealth is built through building multiple portfolios, buying multiple assets that are doing different functions for you. Some generating rental income for you, some you buy for capital appreciation in high growth areas, some you buy them to use the profit to acquire more assets. What is each one doing for you? That is building real portfolio in real estate. For example, think about any business that you respect today. Let me use Dangote for example. Dangote did not build one cement plant and called himself a businessman. He built the system. He built multiple plants, multiple sectors, multiple revenue streams, all working together. Now, the real wealth is in the system, not in any single piece of the business. And the same logic applies to real estate investment. Most people buy one property and call themselves real estate investor. What you are doing is like someone who opens a provision store and start calling himself a business mogul, if you think about it. So if your goal is to build wealth through real estate, you need to start thinking in portfolios. You need to start asking questions like, what is each asset doing for you? What are you acquiring next? And how does that property you are acquiring serve your larger financial plan or the purpose of your investment? You need to stop thinking like someone who owns a property and start thinking like someone who is building a portfolio. Because one property, no matter how good the location is, cannot or can never serve the purpose of building wealth for you. And there's one strategy I give investors who buys property from me, is that if you are buying a property in a certain location, make sure to own up to, in the next 5 years, make sure to own up to 5 or 10 property in that same location. It might not be the same exact location, but around that location in high growth area, places that places that are already developing, make sure to own about 10 properties in that location. You will thank yourself in years to come, because what you are doing is building a portfolio and not just buying a property. Which brings me to the final point. And this one sits underneath everything that we have discussed today. Because the honest truth is, every mistake I've described all comes back to one decision made at the very beginning, which is the location. The fourth reason why owning a property does not automatically mean that you are building wealth is the location. Most investors focus on buying where it is affordable and not where the wealth is created. You need to understand this. The reason is because real estate wealth is not created equally across locations. It is created specifically where these three forces are working together. That is infrastructure development, population growth, and scarcity. Where these three forces are present and increasing, properties increase genuinely and consistently in that location. But where these forces are absent, no amount of time, no amount of patience, no amount of hoping will make that property to appreciate in value or increase in value in that location. Buying a property in a wrong location does not just slow down your returns, it makes every other thing we have discussed in this video worse, because dead capital will stay dead. And if you're someone who bought one property and stopped buying, it will tie down your money in that location, because there will be no capital appreciation to leverage on to buy your next property. Let's say, for example, two people bought a property last year with the same budget. Mr. A buys in an area that there is no infrastructure, no economic activity, no population growth, no development. But he or she bought the property because it is affordable. And maybe someone told you that it will eventually grow in value. Mr. B, on the other hand, buys in a location where the road is already proposed, businesses are already moving in, there is population growth, and there is um, there's population growth and there's infrastructure development. If you check back 5 years later, if you check back 5 years later, we see that Mr. A is still waiting, while Mr. B has bought an asset that has moved significantly, not because he or she was lucky, but because he was able to ask the right questions before he bought that property. And if you want to buy a property and you don't want to buy in the wrong location, the question you shouldn't be asking is, can I afford this? The question you should be asking is, what is driving demand in that location? And is that demand really growing? Is there infrastructure development? Are there people moving into that location, or are they moving out of it? What will matter more in the next 5 years in that location that will make you to buy that property now? These are the questions you need to ask to be able to determine if that location is good or not. These are the questions you need to ask before you buy that property. And I'll tell you this for a fact. The most expensive mistake in Nigerian real estate is not overpaying for the right property. It is buying the wrong location at any price. Because a great location will forgive many mistakes you have made, but buying at the wrong location will punish every good decision you made. That is the most painful part. And buying at the wrong location here does not just mean you are buying in the village or you bought in a place that there is no growth. You can buy in a place that is growth and it will still be a bad location. The reason is because if that road is a swampy area and maybe, for example, you are considering building a rental property, if that road is not good, it will punish every single development you are doing in that area, because transporting sands, granite and every other thing needed for that construction will be more expensive because the road is not good. So that is a bad location, and a bad location will punish every good decision you have made to buy that property. So let me bring this together for you. You have been told your whole life that owning a property automatically means that you are building wealth. But after this video, you can clearly see that it all depends on why you bought that property, what the property is doing for you, whether the growth you are seeing is real or not, and most importantly, where the property is located. Buying a property with pride only builds monuments, but with strategy builds real investment portfolios. And portfolios built in the right location, generating real income, anchored to real demand. That is what built real wealth through real estate. I don't know if you understand that. I will say it again. Buying a property with pride only builds monuments, but buying with strategy builds real investment portfolios, and portfolios built in the right direction, generating real income, anchored to real demand. That is what build wealth through real estate. Now, I know that most of you watching this video right now will be asking the question, how does one truly build wealth through real estate? And that is what my next video is all about. All I need you to do is subscribe to this channel and make sure to turn on post notification so that you don't miss out on my next video. And if this video said something that needed to be said, I need you to share it to someone who needs to hear it. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.